VR has always been something that's on the edge of being incredibly fun, but never fulfills its promise. Like, who wouldn't want a virtual sword fight with their friends? Sadly though, the barrier to entry just was too great for it to go mainstream. With Meta Quest and PSVR 2, however, we've started to see a resurgence in groundbreaking VR games. What are these new games, you say? Well, let's get straight into it. First up, Among Us VR. Among Us took the world by storm a couple of years ago with its simplistic yet engaging gameplay. However, it was the element of being the imposter and stabbing your friends in the back that made it so popular. Oh, and who could forget the absolute chaos that ensued during meetings? If you're feeling a bit nostalgic for that time and want to dive back into the sinister world of Among Us, then count your lucky stars because Shell's actually making a VR version of it. Yep, you heard that right. Now you can be an evil being and get your friends to turn on each other in 3D. And what's more, you can even watch them panic and run away after realizing that you're the imposter straight through your eyes. Or if you're into your detective stuff, then you can get up close and personal to inspect the clues. Honestly, we can already tell this will be a massive hit. Plus, the great thing is that Among Us VR lands on PC and Oculus Quest 2 during the 2022 holiday season. Next up, Nerf Ultimate Championship. Remember those Nerf gun battles with friends back in the good old days? Wouldn't you want to experience that joy once again? Well, with Nerf Ultimate Championship, you can do exactly that. Essentially, it's a 4v4 arena game with all the classic blasters from your childhood. Oh, and the maps are also brilliantly designed to take full advantage of a VR headset. Like, the game even has a parkour system to make you feel like an absolute badass. Plus, when it's 4 of you on one team, then there's bound to be some super fun chaos too. So strap on your virtual reality headset and start practicing those croc shots because Nerf Ultimate Championship's heading to the Meta Quest 2 later this year. Then there's The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners Chapter 2. Not everyone likes to play multiplayer games, and with the lag and everything, those games can be super disorienting as well. Besides, some of the best VR games have always been those more focused on darker experiences. So what better way to immerse yourself into another world than Chapter 2 of The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners? Now, if you've played the first game, you know that this is an absolutely terrifying experience. Well, this one turns that up to 11 and makes those zombies look extra fleshy and disgusting. Oh, and turning on the lights won't help either because this is VR we're talking about. Also, being a Walking Dead game, it's got some pretty daunting choices for you to make too. Like, you literally decide how the story pans out, which is so cool for a virtual reality experience. So, gear up and head out into the city to fight your way through bloodthirsty zombies. And The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 arrives on Meta Quest 2 and PSVR 2 in 2022. Now, for Cities VR, let's make a hard pivot to something completely different. If you've played City Skylines, then you'll know the deal. This is easily the biggest and boldest city building game out there, where you design everything from the flow of traffic to massive industrial zones. Oh, and you've also got to keep your citizens happy while you're at it. But now, with VR, you can literally feel like a benevolent god watching over your little people as they go about their daily life. Or, if you want to be a bit more evil, you could always clog up their sewage and fill the city streets with poop! Oh, and of course, you've got the super twisted option of sending meteors, tornadoes, and all sorts of other disasters to your people too. Whether you make the efficient utopia of your dreams or choose to literally torture your citizens, however, is entirely up to you. Also, you could literally download Cities VR on your Quest 2 right now, since it's already out. Let's talk about F1 2022. Over the past few years, Codemasters has really honed in on its craft and has created the ultimate Formula One sim experience for both casual and hardcore fans. However, one thing that was holding back the game's immersion level was a lack of VR support. So now, with the latest entry, F1 2022, you can hop into an actual Formula One car and experience the thrill of speed for yourself. Since the game's officially licensed, you've got all the authentic cars and the tracks, including the new Miami Grand Prix. Plus, this year's heavier F1 cars also adds an extra degree of challenge into the mix. However, the real fun starts when you line up on the grid alongside your favorite drivers and wait for those 5 red lights to go out. And from that point, you can choose to be a clean driver or torpedo straight into the back of someone else like Daniil Kvyat. Seriously, Formula Racing has never felt this good. And move on to Ghostbusters VR. Ghostbusters is easily one of the most beloved franchises out there. After all, who doesn't love a gang of goofy heroes hunting ghosts around town? And now, if you've ever wanted to live in that fantasy and absolutely ruin Casper's day in some random mansion, then Ghostbusters VR has got you covered. For starters, the The game's absolutely gorgeous and has that cartoony vibe to it that you'll instantly fall in love with. However, it's all the Ghostbusters gadgets that are the stars of the show here, as you'll carefully walk through different locations to track those pesky ghosts down. And once you've found one, then it's time for battle. Now it's up to you to blast the ectoplasm monster and trap it. Also, did we mention that there's an overarching story set in San Francisco as well? Oh, and if you feel like you need a hand, you can squad up with 3 other friends too for that authentic Ghostbusters crew experience. Then we have Propagation, Paradise Hotel. Now, if over-the-top cartoon ghosts aren't your thing and you want an actual horror experience, then Wanadev Studios' Propagation, Paradise Hotel should be at the top of your shopping list. It's a true survival horror experience where you're trapped inside a hotel with zombies and a bunch of other foul stuff following you. Also, remember PT by Hideo Kojima? Wasn't that the scariest thing ever? Well, this is kind of like that, except for the fact that it's in VR, which makes it even more terrifying. Your job is to scrounge through stuff, uncover clues, and navigate through some thrilling storytelling to find your way out of the Paradise Hotel alive. Sounds exciting, right? Thankfully, we won't have to wait much longer for this game as it comes out on PCVR later this year. Next up, Ruins Magus. When it comes to VR games, we rarely ever see Japanese devs contributing to the pool, but it looks like all that's about to change as an actual JRPG is heading to PC and Quest 2. Oh, and make no mistake, Ruins Magus has a branching storyline, fully voiced side quests, and some pretty sick combat too. Also, visuals are just absolutely stunning. Like, it's easily one of the most gorgeous VR fantasy worlds we've seen yet. Plus, the gameplay depth with artifacts, spells, and other abilities is also super fascinating. But perhaps the strongest suit of Ruins Magus, much like other JRPGs, is its charm. Seriously, everything from the towns and their inhabitants to the gorgeous art style oozes AAA energy. So if you're into Japanese role-playing games, then you really don't want to miss out on this one. Then there's NFL Pro Era. Of course, we haven't forgotten about all you sports fans. It's just that we don't really get many sports games on VR. Like, usually it's just some pretty bare-bones baseball or something. However, with the NFL Pro Era, Status Pro is here to change the status quo, as they've developed the most authentic on-field football experience ever. You've got all the licensed teams and stadiums, and the objective is to lead your team to the Super Bowl. Of course, you can also hone your quarterback skills in the meantime, or invite some friends over to play catch in an actual stadium. Also, yes, you can literally tackle everyone on the field and turn into a real menace. So make some pro plays and lead your team to the highest level in NFL Pro Era VR this fall. And lastly, the last Clockwinder. Alright, we won't even try to sugarcoat it. This is an engineer's dream. Now, the bizarre art style might make you feel like something's bad about to happen, as it usually does in games like this, but legit, this is one of the most relaxing and fun VR experiences you could get right now. In this cozy sci-fi world, you're a robot overlord who can create his own clones and get them to work. Now, whether that's growing plants or building actual machines, that's your choice. If you're into automation and puzzle solving though, then this is right up your alley. Oh, and it's out on both PCVR and MetaQuest 2, so jump right in. That's a wrap for this video. Which new VR game are you the most interested in? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.